allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brewer. Here. Trustee Carter.
Here.
Trustee Grant.
Here.
Trustee Tate. Trustee Todd. Here. Trustee Zupan. Here.
We'll move to the approval of the minutes. I'll accept the motion to approve the second draft of the journal proceedings minutes for March 13th, 2018. I accept the motion.
So moved. Second.
It was moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Todd. Any questions?
I just have one under public safety committee. It looks like there should be more to it. It just says trustee Zupan reported. I think there's more.
Please use the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
So I think that just needs to be corrected.
Correct, and that would have really stated that she announced that she would be having a meeting at 6:30 at the time.
Okay.
Any other questions? Is that a correction or just a oversight?
It would be a correction.
Correction, and I need to have a motion that is a necessary correction to be included in that motion. Who made it?
Necessary.
Second on that?
I second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brewer. Yes. Trustee Carter.
Yes.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Tate. Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Trustee Zupan. No. Praise the Lord.
Motion is carried. I'll accept the motion to approve the journal proceedings minutes of March 6, 2018. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Todd. Any questions?
I just have where a correction needs to be made under the audit presentation by Miller Cooper. The second paragraph where it says universe, it should probably say distributed. It says disturbed, so that just needs to be corrected.
Any other questions? That also has to be approved with the necessary corrections.
Also has to be approved with necessary corrections and moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Carter.
Yes.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Tate. Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Trustee Zupan. No. Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak, up to 3 minutes, and may not engage in debate. Please come forward. When you do, please state your name.
Renee Richardson.
Speak up.
Renee Richardson. And one question that I would like to ask is in regards to Sherry. In regards to Sherry's position, is it on or have you made a decision?
Is that all you have for your 3 minutes? Okay, that position has been consolidated.
Can you say that again?
That position has been consolidated.
Can you say consolidated into one?
It's just consolidated now. I'm not going to talk about personnel issues in the public, but as I stated last week, it's been consolidated. Thank you.
Derek. My name is Ted Maris. I'm one of, if not the largest, single-family property owner in Sauk Village. I'm doing my best to keep my houses up to par and keep this place safe. I have a lot of interactions with the village, the police department, the fire department, the village hall itself. It's frustrating, beyond belief, to hear comments around town. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. To hear that Sherry, Bev, Cindy, Sue, Mike, and Kevin all have targets on their backs. I thought it was a conspiracy theory. I didn't want to believe it. Then Sherry's gone. Bev's gone. Sue's quick to follow, I'm sure. Mike and Kevin, it's not about customer service. You were elected to be customer service. I sat with you for a greater part of an hour talking about the sewer problem that we have, talking about grants that all other cities have done. But you just don't want to address it. I called you 4 times. I spoke to Mary 4 times, and you still haven't returned my call. Firing Sherry was personal and detrimental to the village. Now I go there and all I see is a metal screen instead of the building department. I'm shaking because I'm angry. It's because of her that I own 50 houses in the village. I can email her certificates. I can have Marv and Pete and Chuck drop them off. She had a file for me. And not just me, but all the other investors that are here, and I'm hoping you guys will speak up. It's because of her I own 50 houses. Her customer service is better than anything I've ever seen from anybody. Let's not forget, you may think that these are renters. We don't care about renters, but 61% at least of your village residents are renters. If you had any sense of customer service and not a monarchistic government, you'd return one of my 4 phone calls, answer the multitude of FOIA requests. And why is it that the water and sewer fund has been depleted and used for purposes such as buying 3 squad cars? One of which I understand has been used for you, Derek. Joe and Mary, I understand, have access to that car as well, but it's supposed to be a police car. You have the chief of police going out and policing when he's got a lot more things to do than go out there on the streets because, I guess the police aren't important. I have a master's in municipal finance. You must not understand fund accounting. And Mohan getting his salary cut so you can give it to your treasurer as a raise. We have 83 fire hydrants not working in this town. Many of them right in front of my houses. I understand the city of Crete offered their fire hydrants to us, but are you too proud to take them? Or you just want to buy them from your friends? Sherry did her job and did it well. You letting her go was a big mistake. I ask that you admit letting her go was a big mistake and offer her a 4-year employment contract with the village. I'm certain any pending litigation, and I'm speaking as if I were her, I'm certain I would have pending litigation. I'm sure it wouldn't be dropped. And your re-election will be a hell of a lot easier. We're a democracy. We work together in this country. Black, white, yellow, Jewish, or otherwise. We work together.
I'd like to know why hasn't the village board meetings been updated on the web? The last one entered was last October 2017. Also, what is the current rate of lost water from the infrastructure and what is being done to correct it?
I didn't hear the last part. What is the current rate of water being lost? Is that what
Lost, not the infrastructure. What's the rate of the water being lost out of the infrastructure? 18 months ago, it was 30%. What's being done to correct that?
That number I couldn't tell you offhand, sir, but I did say something to you about that. Now I'll probably be lying because I don't know that rate of loss. So we're open every day. You can come up and I'm pretty sure we can get that answer for you.
What about posting the board meetings on the web? The agendas are on the web, agenda meetings, right?
Okay, thank you.
Judy Gasker. The first thing I would like to ask about there is, we had a trustee vote no on the minutes, and I can understand that. They have the right to vote yes or no. But my question is, why does she sit there and take minutes on her own computer and then vote no on our minutes, or what we're supposed to get? It doesn't make sense to me. If she's better than the village clerk, why don't you just assign her to do the minutes? It seems to be what's happening. If you can't do it, give it to him. If you can't do it, give it to her. Everything's lumped together. As far as Sherry goes, you had one very well-educated person in the position she was doing. You consolidated that, or however you want to word it, with somebody who knows nothing about what her department did. She wore so many hats. Did you assign all 10 of her hats to the same person who doesn't really know what's going on?
Sherry knows too much.
And I'm going to get on the subject that is near and dear to my heart, as you have known for a very long time. Our police department. Why are we working so short-handed? You want time, overtime cut, but we don't have enough people on. I had my scanner on, they had 3 separate poles at the same time, and somebody was running from one to the other, trying to pick out which is the worst that has to be dealt with first. We had a death in a shooting a week ago, last weekend. We had a death on an overdose the same weekend. We had shootings yesterday. What do we have to do to tell you we want a safe village? You keep saying it, but cutting our police time and our police manpower is not right. We have a list of people that are willing to get on the department, and it's not being used. Why did you spend the money to send it through all that testing and everything if you weren't going to use it? The village is in a position right now where we've had it. You're bringing us to our knees. It's more than Towers or Hanks ever did to us. You don't hear us. You don't see us. It's an industrial town? Okay, so we're an industrial town. But the people still matter. We still pay taxes. We still want what you promised. The transparency, the open door policy. It's not there. If it was, the budget wouldn't look like it does.
Time.
Pat Couch, you mentioned that you had consolidated Sherry's job. What did you consolidate it into? Who is doing it? And are they trained properly to do that job? She had a lot of knowledge, a lot of training, and you just flushed it down the stool when you let her go. Who's doing that job now, and what kind of background do they have?
As I stated before, and I'll say it again, I will not sit here at an open board meeting and discuss personnel. That will not happen. And so to get me to keep asking what happened to that job, I explained that last week, I'll explain it again like I said this week. But I will not discuss personnel matters in an open board meeting. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is William Neary. I am a contractor in town here. I also own property. Been around Sauk Village for 30 years or so. Dealt with a lot of the mayors. No such thing as a perfect mayor. I don't know if you remember me, Derek, but we spoke when you were a trustee. You were nice enough to come out after a village meeting and take my input as far as code enforcement. This is when the code enforcement department was downsized. Okay. You say that position is consolidated. I work for a lot of investors, and myself, I own property here. Economic redevelopment, it should be your number one priority. To keep Sauk Village growing, we have a lot of empty houses here. When you play with code departments, you play with the livelihood of those investors. When there's no clarity on what's going to go on and who's going to do what the new rules will be, blah, 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 blah. It's a serious matter. Not to mention, I'm an employer. Before I would release somebody with 20 years of service, I think I'd have meetings, probably in front of the people here, maybe in front of these people here, the people that matters to. I just think there should have been, it should have been done a different way. We're all a little bit bitter about this, and I think rightly so. Like I said, there's no perfect mayor. Some of this can be corrected. Can you define what consolidated means so we know what's going to go on? Consolidated is a big word. What is the definition? What's your agenda? Some little bit of clarity on it. And one more thing, and I'll sit down. Your police department, I've seen a wonderful job done by them in the last 5, 6 years. Unbelievable. 2 years ago, I put 19 central air conditioning systems in. Not one was broken. All 19 were thefts. Okay? I've not done any this year so far. I did 2 last year. So these guys are doing, I don't know if they're short-staffed or what. I see them all over. They don't sit around at coffee shops. These guys are moving. They're doing their job. You could look around and pat them on the back because they are doing their job. This was a rough town. They cleaned it up really, really good.
1 minute.
Okay? 1 minute. And that's my 2 cents worth, okay? I'm very disappointed with what happened to Sherry. I don't know what the pros and cons were on it. I don't know. But you don't mess with code enforcement. This town needs it really, really, really bad.
In regards to code enforcement, we still have code department. Code department still exists, and we still have it. It's still running. As far as consolidated, that means when you bring 2 different entities and make it into one, that's what a consolidation is. I'm not gonna go back and forth, sir.
Right.
I'm not gonna go back and forth. And as far as the police department, I don't know why is the police department involved in anything, right, at this particular point, but there's nothing that's been said negative about the police department. I've backed the police department ever since I've been a resident, so I don't know what.
That was just a compliment to the gentleman there.
Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna respect you,
Okay, please do.
and I'm gonna ask to get respect, sir. I'm not gonna yell back and forth, no one yelled when you were talking. Please, respect. I mean, you may not respect me, you may not like me, but I'm still the mayor. So can you respect the office? I'm just asking you, sir. Can you please respect the office? I'm not gonna come in where you at and yell when you're talking. When you were talking, sir, I listened to every word you said. I did not stop you, I did not interfere, and that's all I'm asking. As far as the police department, yes, I know what a great job they do. I know what's happening. I've never said anything negative that I was gonna do anything. To have these different innuendos out there, to say that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, or whatever. I'm here every day. Come ask me. Don't wait until we got a full audience. For what reason? What does that mean? If you want to know something, I'm here. I'm here. You can ask at the front desk if I'm available. If not, if I hear something and somebody wants to come up and I'm doing something, I'll step out for 5 minutes. I'm here. I'm not running from anything. But to make those innuendos and I'm getting rid of A, B, C, D, E, O, F, I'm just letting you know, sir. I don't know where they come from. And if people want to make those accusations, that's fine. But I never said anything like that, so I don't know who's spreading that, but that's just like everything else. People love negativity. Thank you.
Okay, well, I did not in any way, shape, or form mean to disrespect you. I just stated what I...
It wasn't you, sir. I wasn't directing
Okay,
that
that's
comment to
fine.
you. That comment was not directed. First, not directed to me, it ain't right directed.
One last thing. As far as turning in them certificates, really quick, why must the owner be there? We have a lot of out-of-state owners. Who's going to do that for them?
You come up tomorrow, we got to explain the whole process to you, sir. And I have someone there to explain as far as the turnaround for your application and for life. Thank you.
Barbara Stearns. My concern is the dogs running loose. On Saturday, I went out on my front porch and see an ambulance, and my mail carrier is being put in the ambulance because she has been attacked by a pit bull that's been running up and down Chappelle forever. I've lived in town 60 years and I've never seen so many dogs running loose. Nobody seems to care. I was told that we don't have any way to transport a dog that gets picked up. Also, I'd like to know, I was told that Animal Medical Center here in town will not accept any of the dogs anymore because they're owed so much money. Something needs to be done. The mail carrier, she was okay. She will be okay. If that had been a child, that child would have been torn to shreds. We've got pit bulls running around, down around gates and flying up and down Chappelle. Something needs to be done about it, and I'm told the police department's hands are tied because they have no way to train. Nothing against you. I think that was Chad that was out there with the department. And he did a good job. But then I was told the dog's not being taken away. The dogs are staying back home. I always understood that when a dog bites somebody, they have to be watched and I am concerned, especially that's in my area, because that's where I see these pitbulls running loose. I don't want to take my dogs for a walk around the block. Last time I did, I took my late husband's cane with me, not that that would do much good. But I guess I'm going to have to put my dogs in the car and drive over to Dyer and walk around the path over there. But please get something done about these animals before a child is mauled to death.
In regards to not picking them up or transporting them because we old, that's untrue. I never heard that. I will find out why we don't have a dog catcher. So that's one thing, we used to years ago, we don't have a dog catcher, so we have to call someone else out to pick them up. But as far as them not being able to be dropped at our local vet, because of there's an outstanding bill, that's the first I've ever heard.
Well, in this past week, I've seen online that County Line and Stager is where our dogs are going that are picked up. There was 2 on there this past
Is
week.
that Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
County Line is putting a
Must be
picture up.
true.
This dog was found running loose in Sauk Village.
Thank you.
Mr. O'Hare, just, County Line only has 2 cages, and most of the time when we try to take dogs there, they're full. So our hands are kind of tied. We could go to South Chicago Humane Society, and most of the time we only have 1 noose, and that noose stays in the shed until it's used, because you can imagine how big that is. So it is an issue, and it seems like we get a lot of stray dogs lately. So we try to do the best we can with what we got. And if we could catch them and get them in a car, we will take them over to County Line when they're not full. Otherwise, we're going to get a new protocol. We're going to look at taking them over to the Humane Society in South Chicago Heights.
Thank you.
President Kendrick.
Speak up, please.
Bernie, start over. Huh? Let's start over. You don't want me to start over? No, I do want you to start over. All right, now. Okay, Bernie Brewer, trustee, resident. My first question is from a financial standpoint. I submitted 4 requests, requesting copies of all the employees and their salaries and fringe benefits for this year. That's public information, and I would like a copy of everybody's salary. In regards to the budget, I'd like to know who's going to get a raise, whose funds are going to be deleted. This is from a financial standpoint, this has nothing to do with personnel. This is what we're supposed to do, trustees follow the money. Secondly, I was told this afternoon when I came to get my package that I was relegated to 100 copies per month. And I want to know if any of the trustees get that memo, or is it just me? We have been cut off from talking to the residents, and we can't send out information to the residents, so now we can only get 100 copies. If you have a committee or something, that's going to be a problem. So I would like to know if anybody else has been cut down from 100. I even got the memo saying 100, is it just for me? And that's in mind.
I'm gonna say this as best I can. First of all, trustee, you here, I'm here today. And I said it before to you that if you need something and you're not able to get it, to come and talk to me. But every week,
That's what's going to be.
you don't want your question answered, correct?
No, not
Okay,
really.
thank you, yes, sir, go ahead. Go ahead, sir, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Can we get an answer to the question?
No, she doesn't want one. Yes, sir, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, y'all, just because
My name is Ron Sikowski, I'm an investor in the village, I sell the properties. I'm curious how a trustee would have to actually file a Freedom of Information Act request. You know, my understanding is from some of the residents who have filed these requests that they're being stalled, unanswered, and at your direction. I don't understand what's the business of this town. How can we conduct things in open manner? When your own trustees can't even get your information. It's appalling. And sir, you stated that you have an open door policy and that if somebody has a question, but yet very few of the questions that have been answered tonight you answered.
Yeah, the stages, sir, they won't quit. I tried to answer the question, but I'm not gonna go back and forth until you get
I'm
through.
aware you're not doing that. But I just think, I just want to state for the record, I think it's appalling that your own trustees who are guided with the responsibility to guide this town and want all the residents part of it to a solid foundation in the future, and you can't even answer their own questions. It really gives some subject to some serious questions that are raised here. And I think everybody needs to really think about that.
Okay, well, answer to your question. In answer to your question, the trustee that has total autonomy to come, and she does. And as far as the FOIAs are concerned, why did not be answered? Because the clerk has maybe like 40 she's gotten here recently. So nobody can answer those that quick. Why does she present a FOIA? I have no idea. Why does she stand up there at that mic? Because I guess she needs an audience. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that question. But you've asked me, I'm not gonna.
You know that's wrong.
Okay. I'm not, see, this is what I'm talking about.
looking to debate.
Well, that's what you're doing.
Okay.
What would be a standard timeframe that the question being met?
Like I said before, the FOIAs are being answered as quick as possible. Your question was, why does the trustee has to FOIA? They choose to. That's why. The answers are there. The person that asks questions, they're not gonna come, you're gonna come every single day and ask certain things. They have that information. The last time that person got information, they went and made 300 copies to disseminate to just trustees or whatever. All they had to do was just ask questions. So why that is going on, you have to ask that. I have no idea. But the question that they ask, the reason why they FOIA, they think that's going to make it faster. I don't know. I guess they figure that, if I FOIA it, then you have to answer within a certain given period of time. But why does that person keep coming each and every week asking the same thing over and over again? I have no idea, so I don't know. I don't know, because those questions we have, I've had proof of people that been asked that question by my finance director, by my clerk, that this person asked the same questions over and over again. For what reason, I don't know. So if you're saying that, why did they have to do that, you have to ask that question. But to go back and forth, I tried to answer some of the questions, but, you know, as you just heard, they don't want to hear that. So, you know, I understand, I know what it is, but I mean, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and keep going back and forth with that. So yes, I do my best to answer what I can, and if I don't, they know where to go. They're a trustee, they know who to talk to. But you're not gonna hold a person that's working there every day up an hour and a half, because, oh, wait a minute, what about, oh, wait a minute, what about, oh, wait a minute, that's what happens, sir. That's what happens. And the finance and the people that they ask the question will tell me the same thing, that they're sitting there for the last hour, 45 minutes, answering, what about. So that's what that is, sir.
And that's simply not true.
Okay, now then, thank you, then fine. If you don't want to believe what I say, sir, thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Caitlin Dahl, first life, very professional. Caitlin Dahl, first life, is very professional. Ask the rest to make comments about one of your trustees.
Yes.
Secondly, Caitlin Dahl. Secondly, you can say it again, we're going to keep coming, Sherry's a wonderful employee of the village. And thirdly, I'd like to know how many FOIA requests the village has received this year and how many we've actually responded to.
Oh, okay, she said she has a report, she'll give a report tonight.
You can't give me a figure right now, ballpark. My understanding is there's a book, and I will start making FOIA requests myself. If this Maddie needs to be contacted, the proper news authority needs to be contacted in order for you to respond, that's what we've done. So you can't give me a figure.
I'm not going to, because I will be held to it, and
I'll be back next time, but I just want to figure.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to ask you one question. Are your trustees allowed to use the posters machine? The postage machines.
state your name.
My name is Cheryl Schultz. I'm very proud of it. I'm a resident here for over 45 years. And I know Mr. Burgess very well. And I can't tell you how disappointed I am. But I want to know that question. Are your trustees allowed to use the postage machine?
Within reason, yes.
Excuse me?
Within-
Why was my daughter suspended for allowing,
That's not why that happened, ma'am.
well, that happened for 2 weeks and
That's
then
not
you
why
fired
that
her.
happened. Okay, all right. I'm not going to go back and forth with that, ma'am.
Can't hear you.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Deion Woodard. I've been a resident here for 30 years. I got rental property in town, actually have a home in this town. My question is, I ride the town, actually licensed contractor also. As I ride through the town, I'm starting to see more and more work being done without permits. I'm seeing garbage laid at curbs out on 22, there's been a property over there. It's had doors, windows, kitchen cabs, everything, debris laid on the curb now for almost 2 weeks. I'm trying to find out when we're going to try to put into the budget to get more code enforcement, like I said, we do have code enforcement, to be able to monitor what's going on in town, as far as work being done without permits, law work I do is done by permit. Also, as far as the grass area, as I ride through the town where every other house on the block has grass that's 12 to 16 inches, I know in the past, if your grass is 6 to 8 inches, you wouldn't get a ticket for it. We're starting to see more and more yards now throughout the town that has overgrown yards. So I'm trying to find out when we're going to get more, people that will be able to look over the top of that as far as code, issue more tickets, more citations, which would bring more revenue to the town. Those citations were issued. We're working out without permit and work as far as grass being overgrown.
Answer to your question, I do have we had put out a bid for a landscaper to come out with the money that we given from the grant, so that's going on now, and I'm sure this is not the first time you saw grass this way. It's been like this since I've been here, and I've been here 37 years. But anyway, we have a person, a contractor that's doing it, and then I do hire, and has been hired for the past few years, summer help to help cut different, properties that are abandoned or owned by, banks that are not taken care of. So we try to get around to that. We have something like 300 homes that are in that particular, disarray. So, no, can we do it all at one time? No, sir, but it will be taken care of, and we have to do it as we can. You're not gonna be going back and forth here.
Oh, no, I'm not going to. It's not the grass that's actually the vacant property. I'm talking about occupied homes. It's not the vacant property.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying when it comes to that. It takes time to go shut down. We got quite a few occupied homes in town.
If you can tell me, and I'm not gonna keep going back and forth, but if you can tell me a way, I've been a trustee for a while, I've talked to many municipalities. If you can tell me a way to make a person pay the ticket, and they've been ticketed. If you can tell me a way to make them pay, because half of them that get tickets don't pay, so therefore the tickets go up. You would think that when you got the ticket that you would pay that face value instead of waiting for it to go to $750. So that's the problem that happens. Yes, the tickets are issued. I can show you the tickets issued. We issue hundreds of tickets each and every month. Some of them for the same property.
That's my only question.
Yes, so as far as trying to get them to pay,
I totally understand, like, so you can't go on first class, so when you are being issued.
Oh, definitely.
Like, so there's other question, like, there's work being done in town without permits, and we contract.
that, you just don't see that, but we have a person that goes out just today that happened. That we was told about something like that, so yes.
Okay, who should we report this to? The question is, we see it.
If you see it, come to Village Hall, sir. Come to Village Hall, thank you. Okay, move on to, reports of officials, the mayor's report. I have a proclamation that I'd like to read for, Mr. Cruz Castillo. Is he here? Castillo, yes. Castello, is that correct, Castello? Castillo? Castillo, okay, Mr. Castillo. I'm going to read this proclamation. Mr. Castillo is an Eagle Scout. He attained that distinction. If anyone knows anything about being an Eagle Scout, that's a lifelong endeavor, and it will be with that person forever. They can use it on resumes, they can use it on anything they try to obtain in life. It shows the commitment that they put into trying to obtain that particular position. Now, I just want to read this proclamation, congratulating Mr. Cruz for Eagle Scout. Whereas in November 2017, after careful review and examination, the Eagle Scout Board Review found Cruz Castillo of Boy Scout Troop 271 worthy of the rank of Eagle Scout, the highest rank in Boy Scouts of America. Whereas Cruz Castillo is the son of longtime residents Art and Annette Castillo of Sauk Village. And whereas Cruz Castillo began his Boy Scout career in 2010, and after 7 years of scouting, attained and achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Cruz Castillo grew up in Sauk Village, attended Marion High School, where he participated in football, tennis, math, on the math team, science, Olympiad, and math modeling team, and graduated with high honors with a 4.4 grade point average. Whereas working on his Eagle Scout project, Cruz Castillo ran a food drive for Respond Now in Chicago Heights. The food drive took place at Marion High School, St. Anne's School in Lansing, and St. Thomas More Church in Munster, Indiana. This most successful project serves the needs of the community at large, and whereas Cruz Castillo is currently attending the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, where he is a math major and his goals of becoming a math professor. And whereas it is the distinct honor and privilege of the mayor and board of trustees of the village of Sauk Village to congratulate Cruz Castillo on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor, on behalf of the people of the village of Sauk Village, does hereby recognize and extend sincere congratulations to Cruz Castillo for having achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. An honor for him, his parents, those he has guided, those who have guided him, and to all the residents of Sauk Village with best wishes for a bright future. Be it further proclaimed by the mayor on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sauk Village that a copy of this proclamation be presented to Mr. Cruz Castillo, and said proclamation may be made part of the public record of the Village of Sauk Village. By the mayor of Sauk Village, counties of Cook and Will in Illinois on this 22nd day of May, 2018. I also have a couple other things. Next Monday, Memorial Day, will be a ceremony right here, right out back, at 11 o'clock, all invited. We'll have Memorial Day ceremony. We've had them in the past, asked all to come out and support our fallen veterans. And at least come and we have a few speakers that are going to be there, so please come out and listen to that. Also, Grace United Church of Christ in Sauk Village is every Wednesday now from 4 to 6 p.m. They're having a food pantry. If anyone doesn't know where Grace United Church of Christ is located, it's just west of where St. James Church is located on 23rd Street. There are flyers out in the back, and anybody have any questions, there's the phone number there, 773-247-3663. With that being said, that's all I have, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have not a lot to present, but I do have some. As you know, monthly I present a FOIA summary of the FOIAs that were received for the past month. This is our last meeting of this month, so I prepared it in advance. So this summary covers the time period from April 30th, 2018 until today. And in between that time, we received 31 FOIA requests. And of those 31 FOIA requests, we have responded to 19 of them. Some of these FOIA requests are redundant in that the village has been asked for the same document or the same information 2 or 3 times, and then some of it has gone to the Attorney General's office, where they were asked to review, and so naturally we have to respond to those 2, and they are considered a FOIA as well. Most of our FOIAs are from our residents here in the village, and many of them have great concerns relative to the finances of the village, where and how much is being paid. They're looking at invoices. I'm not going to read through each one of them because it would take entirely too much time. However, Mr. Mayor and trustees, I do provide you a copy. However, just for all of the residents, I would like for them to know that the FOIA summaries are usually located on the bulletin board right outside this rotunda. This report has not been included, but for the person who was looking for all of it for the past year, You will see the ones from January. If you come tomorrow, you see the ones from January up until today. But if you would like my copy when I'm finished, you're more than welcome to have that. I also took the liberty, because I really wanted to be proactive, because I talked with trustees as well as residents who were in attendance during the time where we first got started. And I took over doing FOIAs. The last village clerk did not handle FOIA requests. We had someone else to handle the FOIA requests, who in turn turned it over to the attorneys who handled a great many of our FOIA requests. So with me doing it, it is saving us a great deal of money. However, it is taking a great deal of time to do so. I have shared with residents that if you want information, pick up the phone and give me a call. And I can give you that information opposed to having to go through the process. But since so many really love the idea of doing a FOIA, I decided what I would do is to be proactive tonight, and I made copies of a frequently asked question about FOIA requests, outlining exactly what FOIAs are, who's involved in the FOIA process, when and how you should file FOIA, what the timelines are once you have submitted a FOIA, what to do if your FOIA is denied and you do not believe that it was fair. It even lists who you should contact in terms of the person and their address as well as a phone number. It's all in this 12-page packet that I had in the back. Now, forgive me, we've not seen this number of people at a board meeting in a very, very long time. So I did not make 40 copies, I made 25. So if you did not get a copy and you would like to become proficient with how to do a FOIA and how not to do a FOIA, please let me know so that I will gladly make a copy after this meeting so that you can have it. Because let me share with you one thing a FOIA is not, and we have some of the same people submitting them each week or twice a week. You cannot send me a FOIA and ask me when is the next meeting. That's not a FOIA request. A FOIA request is for documents, public documentation that is a part of public records. You're asking me when someone took vacation is not FOIAble. It's not. You're asking me when is the next Human Relations Commission meeting. It's not FOIAble, but when you submit a FOIA, regardless of whether or not it's FOIAble or not, guess what? I have to respond to it. And in responding, that means I have to write a letter. I'm going to share with each and every one of you within my voice. The village clerk position is a part-time position. The way these FOIAs are rolling in, you need someone full-time to do it. It's not because I am afraid of work that they're not getting answered. They're not getting answered because in some instances I rely on the directors or whichever department who have the information to get back to me with the information. And in other times, it's just not enough time in a day. And I definitely generally put in 5 to 7 hours a day, nonstop, and I'm not asking for anybody to give me any accolades or anything. I do what needs to be done but I try to be reasonable, and I'm going to ask that each and every one of you that is on the FOIA bandwagon, that you start being reasonable as well. It makes no sense to have 31 FOIAs in less than 31 days. It makes no sense. And especially when you look at what some of these FOIAs are asking for. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, people, that you submit a FOIA, you forget about FOIAs are to be done in 5 business days. So if you send me a FOIA, and some of you do, if you send me a FOIA at 11:30 on a Saturday night, that day does not start. The clock doesn't start on that Sunday. That clock, the FOIA is received that Monday, and the 5 days start the following day. You've got to know what you're doing as you're doing it. If you really want to make that impact, and if you really want to make a town and a village look bad, know what you're talking about. Know what you can reasonably expect. Don't ask me, please, don't ask me who's on the Housing Commission and when is the commission retired, when you know that when we took office, everybody on the Housing Commission quit, and you were the chairperson of the Housing Commission. See, to me, that's a deterrent. You're just trying to throw shade, and it's not necessary. As we're trying our best. I know this part of the week are really trying to be responsive and to meet your needs. But just to send something, Bernice, you asked about payroll, because you were supposed to have payroll. It's not due until tomorrow. It's not due until tomorrow in terms of your timeline. Know what you're asking. Know the rules of engagement if you're going to play. And don't get upset with me if I can't get the information for you as soon as you would like for me to get it for you. Or if I don't have time to write and say, I'm sorry, I have to deny this because you're asking me for telltale information and it's not a document. That takes my time. Let me move on with a couple of other things that I would like to say. In the back also, you saw a list of all the licenses and the price points for them. We are selling them. We're selling the dog tags as well as the vehicle stickers, and I'm just going to appeal to each and every one of you. Please do not wait till the deadline. We have staff up front willing to take your funds and your fees every day. It's not many of them up there, but they're there. But you would do a disservice to them if all of you and the rest of the village all run in at the deadline. Now, moving on to a couple of other announcements, I have a couple of save the dates that I would like for you to consider and mark, especially if anyone think and feel that you would really like to run for office. We're planning a workshop just for you. And the title of it will be, So You Want to Run for Office. The date that we are potentially looking at having that is August the 11th. And I don't have the exact time right now, but it'll be a 3 or 4 hour. It's for anyone that is interested. And at that point in time, I would like to walk you through the entire election and campaign process, along with giving you your timelines and your deadlines. I do have to continue to work with the county clerk's office because they don't get the candidate's manual out as early as we prefer. But I have enough information that it would make it very well worth your time. to come if you are interested in running. Another one, if you are, so you have decided that you want to run for office, and you have campaigned successfully, and you're on the ballot, then we're looking at having a candidates forum, March 16th, 2019, so that you would have an opportunity to share with all of the residents within ear your vision for March 2019, because elections are in April, so that would give you time to prepare and for people to hear what you have to say and decide who they're going to vote for. So those are two services that we are working to bring to you. And Mr. Mayor, sorry for the long report. That completes my report.
Thank you.
Ms. Dillisburg, was that in response to the written request I made, or was that response to a FOIA? Because I do both.
What?
Whatever you were talking about.
When you were there and I said that.
Use the mic.
When I
No,
asked.
I'm asking the response that you said it's not due tomorrow. Is that response to a statement?
That was an actual
Or
FOIA.
that was a FOIA?
That was an
Okay.
actual FOIA that you announced that you asked for just when you gave your presentation.
Because that's the third time I asked for it and I've got the information.
Miss, we will definitely talk offline about
Mm.
your
Okay.
3 and 4 requests for the same information.
Village engineer, Mr. Jim Zarnik.
Thank you, Mayor. Pre-construction meeting for the Arrowhead Park Improvements Project was held today. Construction should start later next month. The 223rd Street Cornell Avenue Road Reconstruction Project is currently being advertised in the IDOT Contractor Bulletin, and the bids will be opened by IDOT on June 15th. That concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Reports of departments, finance and administration, Director Mohan Rao.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. We received COP grant for the first quarter of 2018 in the amount of $12,685.13. The report was done as of April 11, 2018. The cash was received on April 16, 2018. The IPR grant in the amount of $20,828 was received and distributed to the police, fire, public works, and SDA department appropriately. The Sauk village auditors are going to be present tomorrow, and they'll be here for 3 days until Friday of this month. Friday of this week. That ends my report.
Thank you.
Mohan. Can Mohan stay a little while, so I have some questions about the accounts payable? When we get to the accounts payable?
Accounts payable, when did you put accounts payable out? Friday?
We got it like Friday version today?
Okay. Fire Department Chief Al Reagan.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Over the period May 2nd through the 16th, fire department responded to 30 calls, 9 fire alarms, 1 vehicle accident, 8 ambulance assist, 1 gas leak, 2 CO calls, 4 auto aids to various towns, 2 vehicle fires, 1 lawnmower fire. Somebody's doing some work out there. 1 dryer fire and 1 structure fire. On a separate note, Mayor and Board, firefighters Steve Turner and Willie Williams graduated from Prairie State College. Engineer Doug Luther completed his Management 2 class online, and all these classes were at no cost to the village due to the FEMA grant that we received. And that ends my report.
Thank you. I just thought about, trustee Grant should be able to answer your question.
No, trustee Grant can't answer these questions that I have.
Okay, well, he's part of finance. So he can answer those questions. Police Department,
I don't want to answer Dr.
Police Department,
Trustee
Robert
Grant.
Kowalski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, trustees. For the past 2 weeks, police had 453 calls for service and 11 arrests. Cases of interest: on May 15th, officers received a call that a student released mace in a classroom at Rickover School. Buzz ambulance service was contacted. Since it appeared 10 students were affected by this incident, this matter was handled by the school without any police intervention. On May 18th, officers responded to an assist ambulance call of a possible drug overdose victim, 2200 block 221st Street. Upon arrival, officers found the person to be unresponsive. This matter was turned over to the medical examiner's office as a death investigation. While at the scene and attempting to move the victim, the officer responding was accidentally stuck by a hypodermic needle that was clenched in the victim's hand. The officer transported himself to St. Margaret's Hospital for treatment. We're still waiting results on blood from the medical examiner's office. On May 18th, officers responded to a shots fired call to 1700 block of Carroll, found the victim with multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was transported to St. Margaret's emergency room. The responding officers began to canvass the area to begin the initial investigation. Once the detectives arrived, they took over this case. Since, due to the severity of the wounds and the amount of evidence found at the scene, the detectives activated South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force to assist in this matter. The victim of the shooting passed on May 19th, and a person of interest was identified and brought into the station by investigation on that same day for questioning in reference to this matter. After an exhaustive weekend, our investigators, along with the task force, were able to provide sufficient evidence to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to file first-degree murder charges on the offender, who was identified as Calviante Washington, male, 22 years of age. I'd like to note that the victim and the offender were both from the northern part of Indiana with no connections to Sauk Village. Although one offender has been apprehended, this matter is still active and ongoing. And as I was walking here, the task force was just getting back from conducting several more search warrants, and we should have 2 more offenders in custody shortly. A couple of matters of interest. Second Chance Expungement Summit. The Honorable Dorothy Brown, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, and an array of judicial, governmental, legal, educational, community, and religious organizations and agencies present the 14th Annual Second Chance Adult and Juvenile Expungement Summit and Job Information Seminar at Kennedy King College, 6343 South Halsted, Building W in Chicago. This event is being held on Saturday, June 2nd, with registration opening at 8:30 and doors closing at 6 p.m. According to Clerk Brown's office, this is an opportunity for individuals who qualify to expunge their court records, a second chance for them to be law-abiding, productive members of society, said Clerk Brown. We are attempting to remove as many impediments as possible for people who are attempting to better themselves and their family's quality of life. There's a whole litany of things that have to be done. There are filing fees. There are also some documents which I have forwarded in an email to our village clerk, and she'll be getting in an e-blast. These documents kind of look like this. We can also put them outside on the table. I highly encourage everyone, if you're interested in something like this, to get it done soon, because this is June 2nd that they're holding this, and you have to get a rap sheet from the Chicago Police Department prior to this. And there are some charges that are associated with this and some fees. So be on the lookout for an e-blast, and I'll be working with the village clerk to get this information out quickly. National Night Out, just a reminder, we're registered with the National Association of Town Watch for the 2018 National Night Out set for August 7th. If you'd like to volunteer or if you have any suggestions, please feel free to email me at saukvillagepd @gmail.com. Message me on Facebook, call me direct at 708-753-5151. Also, on Tuesday, May 29th, I've been invited to meet with the Director of the FBI, Christopher Ray. This invitation was extended to Illinois members of the Retired FBI Special Agents Association. During this meeting, I'll explore how small municipal police departments can receive additional support in combating crimes. And finally, strike force stats. I recently received the second quarter statistics from the DEA strike force that our officer, Brad Aguayo, is assigned to, and I'd like to share these stats. To date, the strike force has made 69 arrests and recovered over 204 kilograms of cocaine, 75 kilograms of, or kilos of cocaine, and 75 kilos of heroin, 91 pounds of marijuana, and 73 pounds of methamphetamines. Strike Force has also seized $5,678,508.25 in cash and $97,900 value for vehicles or vessels seized and 27 weapons recovered. Our participation on the strike force has been very well received and welcomed by the Assistant Special Agent in charge of DEA Chicago Division. I'm proud of the work done by Officer Aguayo as well as all the members of the task force. They're truly trying to make each community a safer place to live. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chief. Emergency Management Agency Director Alvin Everett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. Just a few things, mirroring off of the fire department calls. We also assisted Rickover Junior High School with their graduation at Bloom Trail. We had a good turnout out there. May 10th, we hosted our SMART meeting. I want to thank Paulette and her husband for assisting, setting up the meeting with me. We discussed future training classes to be determined and to be announced as times and dates. And just a reminder, once again, people, Monday is Memorial Day. Let's take a few minutes out of our day. I know we all have a lot to do, but let's take a few minutes out of our day. Remember our fallen soldiers who gave all for our freedom. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works Director, Mr. Kevin Weller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few items here. Our south side shut-off list was started, should be completed by the end of the week. We also have digs and jets, which are slow going right now due to the staff. We have some projects ongoing right now that have to be completed in a timely fashion. Grass cutting started cutting at several locations, Village Hall, parks and entranceways to the village. The rest is slow going due to weather, and we're waiting on our part-time staff to be hired on. Currently, we're receiving applications in, so if there's anybody interested, 18 years old, please fill out an application and we'll consider it. Chipping is completed. Branches had to be out by 5:13 to be picked up. The branch program that we have started here years ago was set up for residents to help maintain their properties. We're not asking residents to cut whole trees down. We're not asking any rehabbers or anybody else to cut whole trees down or clean their whole property out during these programs. We only do this twice a year due to staffing, so please help us by helping yourselves. Staff went around also to our old dig locations. We're adjusting the driveways right now that need asphalt work or concrete work. We have accomplished some landscaping also along the way. This is areas that we do not have any concrete work going on. We are moving slowly due to the budget right now. Once it's approved, I'm sure we'll be moving a little bit faster with the concrete work and the asphalt. As the engineer said, we were in a pre-con meeting today. We started the process, we started the time frame for the demo, which Public Works is going to start to do in the next couple days. It should take us roughly about 2 weeks to complete the demo. We're going to try to divide our staff off to continue cutting grass, which is our biggest issue right now. And as you can see, the Village Hall needs it, which will be cut tomorrow. We started today, we just didn't have enough time. Also, we have several repairs in our well houses that are ongoing right now. We are waiting on a couple of the parts to come in. These are taking a little longer than expected, but we should have them by the end of the week, and then we will install the parts by next week, and then continue on from there. And the last item is that we are putting up the village sticker signs, and those stickers must be displayed by July 1st. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Economic Development Director, Joe Wiswire.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and trustees. I have some very good news to share. It was announced on Friday that much of Sauk Village is included, including our 2 industrial parks, have now been designated an opportunity zone. Established by the Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, 1,305 qualifying census tracts were available for selection, of which only 25%, or 326, could be nominated by the governor for inclusion in the program. So there are very few in the south suburbs included in the opportunity zones. Opportunity zones allow companies to repatriate money into the U.S., defer taxes, and reduce taxes on income they earn on investments in the opportunity zones. The tax bill allows for the nomination of the zones by the governors, which they did. Opportunity zone gives Sauk Village a strategic advantage when it comes to economic development, as the CN Railroad Spur and the 394 logistics make this much more valuable commodity. In your reports, I included a copy of the map indicated in red that kind of just shows the outline of the area that's included. We'll be holding a conference call every other week with CMAP and TESCA, who's our consultant for the village's new comprehensive plan. This meeting would be, the weekly meeting, we will be reviewing. This last week's meeting, we reviewed our draft conditions report and the new website designed by TESCA for the comprehensive plan. TESCA will be doing community outreach, and everyone is asked to participate in TESCA's effort for outreach to the residents. The first advisory committee meeting for the comprehensive plan will be in June, and that meeting will be posted. Finally, I will be working to develop some recommendations for the occupancy process. We will be discussing this further in June at upcoming committee of the whole meetings. And I invite any of the contractors or investors who wish to talk and discuss further with me during the week. I'm available here 9 to 5. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. Public Service Committee, Trustee Bernice Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 weeks ago, I think I gave everybody a copy of the first part of the request by the mayor to increase the water rates, and then that includes information about the garbage, Republic garbage. And I haven't got any comments, so if you could take a look at that. We're supposed to talk about it next week, if I'm not mistaken. It's supposed to be on the agenda. Is it next week or is it the week after?
No, next week we don't. It's the 5th Tuesday.
Okay, the week after, we'll, if you have any comments, will you please send them to me, or any changes or anything that you might like. Also, for public service, when trustees send out information to residents, we can't use the postage machine, as I understand it. The code has been changed and we can't use it. We can only send out 100. I found out that today, send out anything 100. You get a copy of 100 anything to post. And as far as FOIAs go, I generally ask here in the village when we have a meeting. Second of all, I put it in writing. And then if I don't get a response to that, I'll put in a FOIA request. Now, a lot of times these FOIA requests have gone to the PAC because I haven't got a response back. And a lot of times I've been on 2 or 3 times just to see if somebody can respond to it in order to answer some of your questions out there. There's no accountability, there's no transparency. The mayor might be here every day. I don't sit in anybody's office no 7 or 8 hours. That's just not true. I have been relegated to 10 minutes to talking to employees. And that's what I do. I'm going to tell you, I have never been in his office more than 10 minutes. And as far as trustee Grant is concerned, he was elected the same time I was. I don't think he even knows any more about this particular financial situation we is than I do. Because in other words, he would have known about that $250,000 that walked out of one fund without anybody knowing. And that's being a lottery.
Budget and Finance, Trustee Roger Grant. Yes, sir.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Budget and Finance Committee did not have a meeting in the month of May. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry. Budget and Finance Committee did not have a meeting in the month of May. We'll pick back up in June. And also for the next committee meeting, keep in mind that we would like to discuss the finance policies and procedures manual that I presented about 2 meetings ago now. Put that on the agenda for the next meeting if we can. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Parks and Recs, the gym is still open on Mondays and Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. There'll be an upcoming event that we're going to have. You'll be getting the information as soon as we've kind of halfway finalized everything for this summer. So as soon as I get a few commitments and some prices, I will bring that to the board. Housing and Intergovernmental Relations, Trustee Tate. Okay. Ordinance Review Committee, Trustee Linda Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll have the Ordinance Review Committee is going to meet on June 11th at 6:30 p.m. here in Rotunda. We are currently still working on the false alarm ordinance. We met with the police chief because we found some things in there that really don't need to be in there. Something that the village doesn't do as far as like doing a permit for the false alarm. So we're going to change some of the language in that. And I have a quick question. It was stated that we can only make 100 copies, is that correct?
100 copies a month, yes.
Because I have a real issue with that when I'm making copies of my ordinances for my committee.
I mean,
Currently,
without me, yes. I mean, after that, then yes, just let me know. I have no problem with that. But to go on, I've seen people use 2 reams of paper to disseminate whatever, and I was never even told, and there was nobody even said anything to me about it, but I did see the paper, and I did see the copy being made, and I did see the count. So by that not happening, no one came and said anything, I'm going to do this, or ask, can I put this much, can I use this much paper? So I'm regulating it to 100, and then quite naturally, when you get to that point, yes, you can come in, and you know, if it's something that you really need, have no problem with that.
See, the issue that I have is that I don't abuse it.
I
print a lot of stuff at home. One of the things is that I try to save money for the village. I bought my own computer so that I could do village business. And the part that I have an issue with is now we're all penalized. That I have to do stuff for my committee. And I might have 5 or 6 people on my committee. If I'm doing an ordinance, I have to use 50 pages. Well, then what am I supposed to do for the rest of the month if I have to print things? And that's just my opinion. That I just think that's ridiculous.
As I stated, if you have to, then just let me know. I have no problem, need to know, that's all. But have that much being printed at one time, and I didn't find out about it until it was disseminated, I have a problem.
And I just want to say this as well, that when we got an amendment to the budget, instead of just giving us the pages that were amended, 92 pages were recopied in color. Now that uses quite a bit of paper, quite a bit of color. And I just thought I would throw that out there that we need to start really looking at saving money. So if there needs to be more amendments to the budget, just give us the page that was being amended. And that's my comment. The other thing I want to say is that the reason that you'll see trustees get up at this podium is because we can no longer speak. Because there's no comments. Now, normally I would not say anything during my ordinance review because that's part of the agenda. I just do my committee meeting. So I just want to make you aware because I see we have quite a few new faces. And that ends my report.
Public Safety Committee, Trustee Beth Zupan.
The Public Safety Committee meetings, next meeting will be June 13th at 6 o'clock here in the Rotunda. And again, because we've got so many new faces tonight, all of these committees are welcoming volunteers all of the time. So resident or not, we are happy to have your input and participation with the investors. You know, I don't, some of you are residents, some of you are not. I don't know any of you personally to know which ones are which, but we all are in need of volunteers. You know, there's a handful of people here, we're a community of 10,000 plus, and yet it's the same faces every meeting for the most part, unless there's a hot topic that brings, you know, the additional faces in. But it's true of all communities, right? You've just got a very few that unless there's something that's impacting them, they just stay in their house. They come and they go and they just assume everything is gonna run. But we need volunteers to help make things run. And I am one who is always up here saying, my public safety committee, I have a small group of people that includes department heads, the police chief comes to our meetings, EMA, Emergency Management Agency Director, comes to our meeting, fire department has a representative, we've got a couple of residents that join us as well. Happy to have as many people who wish to participate. I'll leave my other comments for later in business. Thank you.
As you can see on number 8, it says reports of standing committees and comments. So it is on the agenda for comments for each individual trustee after they get through with their standing committee report. We want to go to new business. And before I go to new business, I have something that I compiled because I understand that there are people that may have problems with, do you see Mr. Thomas? No, he's not here. I have some stats that I like to read about gaming, video gaming cafes, and it was also mentioned that, you know, this town is going to really go to the dogs if we get any more gaming licenses or gaming parlors. So I went out and did some due diligence, and I like to read that to you. There's no data presented by anyone that would indicate that crime would suddenly rise by adding cafes for video gaming. In fact, no surrounding community, including Fort Heights, reports any increase in crime. The village currently has several small vacant stores, some of which have been vacant for over 10 years. These vacant buildings have generated zero revenue for the village. The surrounding villages have great success with gaming. Linwood has 10 facilities which generate $500,000 over the last 5 years and over $3 million in revenue to local businesses. Stager has 11 facilities which have generated $366,000 over the last 5 years and over $2.5 million in revenue to local businesses. Creek has 12 facilities which have generated $312,000 in revenue over the last 5 years and over $2.1 million in revenue to local businesses. Fort Heights has 3 facilities which have generated over $86,000 over the last 5 years and $600,000 in revenue to local businesses. It is expected over the course of the next 5 years that success for Sauk Village will generate over $855,000 in revenue. Currently, the village gets zero. Generate $222,500 in licensing fees. Currently, the village gets zero. Generate over $4.1 million in revenue for local businesses. Currently, there is no revenue generated. The net gain to Sauk Village is $5.1 million over the next 5 years. New business, I'll accept a motion to approve accounts payable and disbursements dated May 22nd, 2018 in the amount of $428,811.90. $428,811.90.
My motion is to approve the accounts payable dated May 22nd in the amount of $431,740.15.
Thank you. There's been a motion. It was moved by trustee Zupan, second by trustee Grant. Any questions?
Question. Mr. Mayor, I would like a copy of Dr. Strotter's invoices, SB 0037 and SB 0039, both in the amount of $1,483,025. I'd like a copy of those. 25 cents. Also, I'd like a copy of supporting documents for the economic development travel expenses, 94, 78, 84, 94. And also, I'd like a copy of the finance director's travel expenses too. I went into the office with Mohan today, and he just let me view them, but I would like a copy. Also, I would like a copy on page 2 of Dr. Straughter again for $765, $680, and $680. That's invoice SB 0036, 38, and 40. I also would like a copy of Olson and Stokes professional services from 2017 for $13,468.75. And also professional services for January 2018 for $5,886.20. Also, I'd like a copy of Olson and Stokes professional services, dated 1/24/2018 for $618.75. I'd like a copy of all these because I'd like to take them home, have a thorough look at them, and see why these particular vendors are being paid so much. And I talked to Mohan, he let me take a look at some of them, but I didn't have a chance to sit there and study them. So I would like a copy of everything that I just mentioned. And I don't know if I had to put that in writing, or do I have to do it for you, but, just let me know. Because all of it's public information.
I got it.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions?
Is there a reason the credit card expenditures was taken off? I see we have a revised copy, but this one here, I don't ever remember seeing all of this.
You said why it was taken off?
Yeah, this is the original. Then if you
It
look
just,
at,
it just wasn't copied, that's all. It's part of this, but it just wasn't copied.
that it should be part of our revised. Because as I'm looking at some of this stuff.
It is part of the revised. So you just don't have it itemized, but it's on here, credit card expenditures. Over the cover page,
Right, and then it says see over.
Okay, well, they just didn't copy that, but it's not taken off.
Okay,
It's
so
still,
that,
it's still part of
okay,
it.
so that I can still ask the question on it. I'm looking at some of the stuff that is spent for supplies, which is kind of disturbing, microwave, et cetera. With a
Did you
microwave,
want me to answer that?
right, with a
Okay.
microwave purchase?
It was a microwave and a stove purchase. Like I said before, when you saw this, I'm here. The community, well, the gym has not had a new microwave since I've been involved in the village. And so someone to use that microwave / built-in stove was ludicrous. So I found one that was pretty cheap, and I was able to acquire a microwave and a stove for that amount of money at Menards. Because if we're gonna be renting out this equipment, renting out these buildings, you need something that's gonna work, and I would hate for somebody to, we got programs in the gym where we need to use a stove or a microwave, we couldn't use that. So that was the reason for that, so,
So it was on the gym site?
yes, ma'am. But like I said before, I mean, this purchase was a while back, but still, when you saw this, I wish the trustees would come in Monday and then Tuesday to ask questions, because it's not a problem. I mean, there's nothing non-transparent about that. That's why I don't understand why if it was not transparent, you wouldn't be on it.
Well, let me just clarify this. I was in here yesterday to pick up my package. Normally I do it on Friday. So if I pick it up on Friday, I can't come in until Monday. I came in here and everyone was in a meeting. So I was not able to ask the questions. So I apologize, because normally I come in and I ask questions. So any other questions I have on this, I'll just send an email.
Thank you. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Tate?
Yes.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Present.
Trustee Carter?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Motion to approve the resolution accepting the grant and authorizing the entry of a commitment and program funding agreement and designation of citing authority for the Illinois Housing Development Authority, which we talked about last week. I'll accept the motion.
Can you give us a short synopsis so that residents will know?
That's the first one. This is the one that we talked about, temporary rehabilitation water service. No, this is not that one. No, this is not that one. Nope, that's not it. Open up. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is the one, resolution accepting the grant for commitment, and it's about the $75,000 grant that we have currently. For the redevelopment for the grass cutting that we talked about last week. It's authorizing for the designation of a signing for that particular grant.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a concern about this. It was my understanding last week, according to the Joe, that that the proceeds that we get for the sale of the land, which is $40,000, will be used to pay this in case we, until it's reimbursed. Because this is a reimbursable grant. And it's only $40,000. I was wondering where we're gonna get the other 35 from?
From the grant.
So we're gonna, so they have to wait for the other payment.
The grant is $75,000. We were going to front the first 40 from the sale, as we stated before last week. And as we produce and send in the money to the state, we will get reimbursed at that time. But we still have money to do that and catch up, which will be no cost to the village. Any more questions? Madam Clerk?
No, you don't have a motion, Mayor.
Mark, I'm sorry, you're correct, I should have thought. I need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Zupan, second by trustee Grant. Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Carter?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Motion to approve the ordinance amending chapter 6-30 alcoholic beverage establishments of the Village of Sauk Village Municipal Code for Cook County and Will County. In other words, amending for our 3 liquor licenses. We talked about that also last week. I accept the motion.
So.
Second.
Moved by trustee Grant, second by trustee Zupan. Any questions?
Comment. Mr. Mayor, I think 7 is a little excessive for this town. And considering the kind of businesses that are here and the the demographics, I think it would be a bad idea. I think 7 is too many. I'm not saying gaming is not a good lucrative business in the long run, but 7 is too many for Sauk Village. And, you know, I'm really, after residents call and they, well, my phone about it, 7 is too many. I understand Creed and everybody else is getting revenue from it, but this is Sauk Village, and the town is not that full. I only see a lot of trouble coming because the police force is down, you know, and there's a lot of people like to do a lot of gaming, you know, and it's,
They can't pay their water.
Are you gonna talk to the audience, or are you gonna, this is a motion, you have a question to the motion, trustee?
wait a minute, I'm making a comment.
Okay, but we have a motion on the board, we have a motion.
I'm
on the-
making a comment, I haven't given up the floor.
It's not about
Okay.
giving up, trustee, you have a
Okay.
motion, I'm asking you for a comment to that.
I
motion.
made my comment and I'm not
Okay.
finished. Okay, and like I said, I think 7 is too much for this
Okay,
town.
well,
Okay?
thank you. Point well taken.
Okay, so you gonna let me finish my statement, or you just gonna interrupt me?
Trustee. Go for it.
Okay, go for it. Anyway, like I was saying, 7 is too much for this town, considering the demographics of people moving in and out. I'm thinking that we might bring some kind of element from neighboring towns like Fort Heights and Harvey and all that sort of stuff, because people are going where these gaming places are. And I really think 7 is too many, and that's the end of my statement.
Any other question? Oh, you have a comment? Oh, I'm sorry.
What I gave the board, and in the back of the room, there's a 2-pager. If anybody has not picked it up, they can feel free. And this is all available on the Illinois website, as are the statistics that the mayor read previously, I believe, because I think he's probably gotten them from the same place that I did from the sounds of it. What I gave the board is a list of the statewide data for the first quarter of this year. And if anybody else wants to see it after the meeting, happy to share it. It's right here in black and white. All of the communities, and it breaks down a count of how many establishments they have, how many machines they have in total, the revenue that's generated, how much the state gets from that, and how much the community, the municipality itself gets. I averaged that out, and across the thousands of municipalities that were listed here, the average is 7 with 30 machines. Now, what I also did, which is the 2-pager, not the 19 pages, because sorry, I was printing this at home and I didn't want to print these sets of 19. But what I do have in the 2-pager back there for you is I highlighted all of our south suburbs in our closer vicinity, but I also took a cross-section of other communities as well. And I wasn't really trying to pick any, certain areas other than names in the Chicagoland area that I was more familiar with. And then when I did the average there, I came out with an average of 13 per municipality, establishments that is, with a total of 60 machines in those 13 establishments. And if you look at all of these municipalities, you will see, and again, keep in mind, this is just January, February, and March of this year. The other information is out there on the Illinois website. If anybody wants the information, come give me your email address after the meeting, and I can send you the link. But there is a lot of money, and I'm not a gambler, guys. I am not. Once in a blue moon, I'll throw $20 in a machine somewhere, but that is not like me, because I hate, to me, that's throwing money away. But there is revenue to be made, and we need revenue, okay? If you were paying attention to our budget meeting, which nobody came to, there'll be the public hearing next month, but when we sat down for 6 hours a couple Saturdays ago and went through the line item by line item budget for every department and every source of revenue and all the expenditures, we need revenue. And while I'm not the biggest fan of these things, it's a revenue source, and that's why my vote is gonna be yes for this. And that is my comment.
You have something? Madam
We
Clerk?
have word on the street.
Would you please call the roll.
Trustee Todd,
No.
trustee Zupan,
Yes.
trustee Brewer,
No.
trustee Carter,
Yes.
trustee Grant,
Yes.
trustee Taylor.
Motion is carried. Motion to approve an ordinance amending chapter 78, article 2, section 7-24 of the Sauk Village Municipal Code of the Sauk Village temporary rehabilitation water. I'll accept the motion.
Also, Mr. Mayor, can you give us a brief synopsis of this?
Can you second the motion?
I thought I heard a second then.
No, you didn't.
Second, I'm sorry.
Thank trustee Todd and trustee Brewer second. And the summary of this one is about the temporary water, rehabilitation water service. And it was increasing the prices. And it was also changing a few things that were in there for, this is for rehab water. This is for water that, when you're trying to rehab, that you come in, you have the water turned on for a specific amount of time.
Mr. Mayor, it wasn't increasing, it didn't increase the price, the wording just changed.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're right, it did just change.
Right, all we did was reword it.
Yes.
Because there were some things left out, but it was just reworded, so it did not increase.
Okay. And I think you brought this to us from the order. Okay, I should have let you go ahead. Okay. Any other questions, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Zupan,
Yes.
trustee Brewer,
Yes.
trustee Carter,
Yes.
trustee Grant,
Yes.
trustee Tate, trustee Todd.
Yes.
Motion is carried. I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Brewer. All in favor by saying aye. Motion is carried. Thank you.